Welcome back, trainers. So we're going to be taking a look at Scrafty one last time before we do take off from the Ultra to Master League on Monday, which I'm very excited for. So let's go ahead and see what we have going on here. Quite a few sets. I did do fairly well using the Feraligatr as the lead, the Scrafty in the back, and the Typhlosion in the middle here. So Scrafty is a very unique Pokemon. It's going to be dark and fighting, 4 times weak to fairies. So basically, we're going to take a look at an example as to how to not use it. So basically switching in like I did here, I'm locked and they're countering me with their fairy. You need to be wary of fairy at all costs, and that includes not switching it in carelessly without knowing exactly what every single Pokemon on their team is. If you know for a fact they have no fairies, then you can make that switch in. That's basically all it has to look out for. Venusaurs can walk over it pretty good. But for the most part, it's going to play its position going up against Steel and Giratinas, as we're going to take a look at here down the line. So since I did make that switch into Scrafty, a very open switch, leaving me vulnerable here, and they're able to counter switch me, and I'm going to have to salvage this battle here. It's not really looking too great with that Cresselia and then the Scizor in the beginning. But let's see what we can do. Really enjoying Feraligatr, guys. It is amazing with Ice Fang, Hydro Cannon, and Crunch. It's really pulled off some amazing things in the last few battles here, which I'm surprised I haven't used it before. But Typhlosion, Feraligatr, and Scrafty, very fun team here to go out playing in the Ultra League. So into our next battle here, we have a Swampert. Now from here on out, for the most part, we're not going to be switching into our Scrafty. So they make a switch into their Clefable here, and we're going to go ahead and counter it with our Typhlosion, resisting the charm. And we might as well just go ahead and lock this up with these 2 Pokemon here. The Feraligatr can come back and fight the Swampert later on here. We're going to go ahead and shield this up. We do resist that Meteor Mash, but we do not know if it was going to be a Psychic or not, so just going to use a shield at that moment and then take it down with the Blast Burn. In comes Giratina, so Scrafty is going to be able to put on work onto that thing. As you're going to see here, it's not like a hard counter and it's like, oh well, here comes Scrafty, I win. Not necessarily. So they are making the switch. So I do want to preserve the health on this thing. We're going to switch back into our Feraligatr and absorb this Hydro Cannon here. And Feraligatr is fairly tanky. The Ice Fang is doing a ton of damage to whatever flying type, say an Articuno. That's a tricky one. We'll look at it here. Basically what I did is just stay in the fight and keep going Hydro Cannons, and eventually just going in with another Pokemon, fainted it down with quick moves and having a charge move ready after that. So we are matched up with the Giratina with a ton of health on our Scrafty, looking great. No fairy type users in the way, so we don't have to worry about any of that, and we take it down with Foul Play. Now usually I like to come at them with a power-up punch, maybe get a shield and then go for the Foul Play after it's been charged up with the attack boost after you use Power-Up Punch. So we have a pretty fun lead here that I realized, okay, Feraligatr can win this and I don't have to shield up. Let's go ahead and see here. So my plan was, I don't care if I go down first. We're just going to keep taking whatever he has, and we're just going to come in and farm afterwards, but I didn't even have to do that. I was able to take him down with Ice Fang. I was like, dang, Feraligatr is a beast. So at this point, I'm thinking, all right, let's go ahead and go Scrafty. If they switch to Fairy, we'll switch instantly to Typhlosion. But they are staying in this fight. We're going to go Power Punch, and that's all we're going to be doing. Getting ready for a switch, but they did not do that. And we're getting hit with a super effective superpower. So we are going to be shielding this up here, getting ready for another switch. And there it is. So it was Registeel, so I decided to stay in here, seeing that I already have the power-up momentum. We're going to just keep it going into this Registeel here, and I do decide to use this last shield because these counters are starting to really stack up, as well as the power-up punches against the super effective Steel. So I was pretty happy when I saw that switch. I was like, okay, Scrafty, let's go. So I wanted to showcase the three sets. So I basically went 4 and 1 for every set. Except for the last one, we'll keep that a mystery. You'll see here what happens. All right, so that one's pretty close. We have no more shields, and he hits us with a Flash Cannon. In comes the Melmetal, and we're just going to go for a Blast Burn and take that out. And a Registeel has no health, and we take the win there. On to the next opponent, getting matched up with a few level 9s. but I look at them the same as a level 10 because some people just don't get the gold medals and they're still pretty good. So Articuno, this is what we're talking about here. So I was predicting they're going to go Icy Wind and just keep Icy Winding me down eventually until my moves are doing pretty much nothing and they're going to just be able to faint me down. So as you can see, the Hydro Cannon is pretty good. I think you want to shield the first Hydro Cannon. We do have another example. I think somebody does outplay me when they do have that. So we're just going to keep going with the Hydro Cannons at this point. We're able to take them down. They didn't use the shield, so let's see what they have in the back. And that's going to be a Swampert. So yet again, pretty good matchup for Alligator. But with this low of health, I mean, it's not really looking great. And at this point, I don't have too much of a counter here. We're not looking so hot. So basically going to have to keep this thing alive because the Typhlosion is not necessarily going to be great, right? Going up against the... unless you use the Solar Beam, which, oh boy, we're going to be actually taking a look at a few of those as well. So we're just, going to keep going with the Power Up Punch, getting those shields out and doing as much damage as possible. He's able to get to that Hydro Cannon. We're going to be able to survive this, though. We just need that Swampert out of here, right? So the Typhlosion can run free, but really depends on what's in the back there. And that's going to be a Giratina, so... we're not quite able to get to that foul play. Let's see if we're going to be able to. And we got it. All right, so we have a ton of the power punches. Our attack has been boosted. Look how much damage that did. We're making an immediate switch into Typhlosion. We can take an Ancient Power now. And we do, and we finish it off with Shadow Claws. So having all those power punches on the Scrafty equaled a very powerful dark move onto that Giratina, which was a great example as to the performance it can do. So they're switching into Articuno, and we're going to go ahead and switch into our Typhlosion here. Expecting probably, yeah, Ancient Power. I've been seeing that quite a bit, but that's okay. As long as we can get off a Blast Burn or two, burn a shield. But they decide to let it go, and wow, all right, so that works. So we're just going to go ahead and go with the Blast Burn again because we're locked in here. We got to do as much damage as possible. And if I sound a little bit tired, forgive me. It's been a long day editing this pretty late here. So at this point, we can go with our Scrafty. They can't do anything to us with those Ghost moves, but they do switch into Poliwrath. Very nice. In which we're going to be going in with our Feraligatr. Although Scrafty can do, some work up against Poliwrath, it's not ideal because Dynamic Punch is going to hurt. So we don't fall for that, and we let it go through without using a shield. That's great. That is really great. And we let this one go through. Because what I figured at this point was, I remember this fight, I need to get that Poliwrath out of there. As long as the Scrafty is able to be lined up with that Giratina, I can secure this win here. With 2 shields, I'll be okay. Even if he baits me twice, which he does, all right? Because at this point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he's throwing at me. All I know is I need to survive and keep the Scrafty healthy. Because I need to be up against that Giratina here, and that Poliwrath will take me out with the Power-Up Punch. Not a one-shot, but... so we're good to go. We have a Power-Up Punch going. We've raised our attack, and we're lined up with the Giratina, and we're going to be able to take it out there. So Scrafty coming in yet again. See, it's really good for the end game, unless they do have a Fairy type, of course. But for this match here, oh boy. All right, this was pretty hilarious, actually. So Lucario is going to make me nervous. You never know what they're going to have. If it's going to be a hard-hitting move, if it's going to be a Power-Up Punch, and you use your shield just like that, like a big waste. All right, so they use their shield too, and I'm thinking, okay, get the Power-Up Punch, now go for the heavy-hitting move. And they do, so it doesn't really matter because we're so low, there's no point in using another shield there. So we could have gone Scrafty. This is where I made my biggest mistake. I should have just put it up against it. Yes, we're going to be weak to fighting, but... I needed to get that Lucario out of there. I mean, now at this point, it's just vamped up so much power with the power-up punches. It just went through my entire team, and he's got a shield left, so we do go for that foul play. Doing a decent chunk, but as you can see, it's nowhere near when you do get off 3 power-up punches strong. And then he does swap into the Venusaur, and at this point, I was like, it's not, I don't know. I don't know about this one here. That lead really threw me off, the Lucario, with this specific team, of course. So we're just going to go, of course, with the Blast Burn. He lets us take him down, In comes the Giratina. He's saving that shield for the late game here because he knows that he's going to be able to take us out there. And he got the boost, all right? I was laughing so hard that he got the boost there. I was like, you kidding me? As if he didn't beat me good enough, they gave him the boost. So we have the Feraligatr with the Giratina out here. And getting ready for a switch. There was no switch, so we're going to go for the Crunch, of course. And see if we can get that. He uses a shield. Very good. And I do not want to use a shield at all. I'm just going to go with it here. Once I get fainted down, we'll just enter in with either Typhlosion or Scrafty. I think I would probably want to go with Typhlosion at this point so we can faint it down and have a Blast Burn ready to go. Yeah, definitely. So we're going to have to expend a shield. We don't have to, so we let that go through. Okay. And probably should shield this up here if it's another superpower. Or, yeah, superpower, it's going to take us out. Ancient power, I don't know why I call it superpower. All right, folks, so check this out. He has no more shield, so we're going to go for the Solar Beam. Oh, man, it is so nice landing those, tell you what. So no more shields, of course, we went for that. We're going to be shielding our Typhlosion up. He is on a roll at this point, so let's keep it going with the Typhlosion. Loving this thing. Absolutely amazing Pokemon. So we get that through, and we're going to immediately switch into our Scrafty here and get that Power-Up Punch and take out that Registeel. And it's a good game. All right, moving on to later battles in the day. We're going to be running into some more rank 10s, I hope. First opponent later on for a new set. Or this might have been the end of the set. I can't remember if I saved it. So we have another Articuno here. Getting ready for the switch, but they do continue on. Going to be going for an Icy Wind, waiting for a switch. No switch. We're going to go for the Hydro Cannon. I think this is the one we were talking about where they out. Yep. All right, so they're shielding it up. Good play there. Keeping that healthy so they can lower my attack, and then the Hydro Cannons are just going to barely do, not that much here, and they're going to be able to take me out with those Icy Winds. But, Hydro Cannon is still hurting. Feraligatr is still putting in work. It's nothing to be like, I got this. But see, he takes me out there. He did expend his shield, and I didn't, so I guess, that's the reason why as well. But I wanted to save it for this, and expecting an Icy Wind, but we get Icy Wind. All right, good. Okay. Because a lot of times I like to go for that ancient power, the last, Hail Mary attack. So we're going to go for the Solar Beam, and he doesn't buy it. Well played, sir. That would have been a one and done for your Swampert. So I had to make the switch at that point because, well, you can't fight Typhlosion against the Swampert, which shields up. And they're shieldless at this point. Then they make a switch into Shiftry. And at this point, I was like, I can win this now. I felt like I was going to lose before if they stayed with Swampert. I don't, maybe because I have a shield, they felt like they needed to switch here. But yeah, it's funny though, because I do believe I run into them later on. Oh no, it's somebody else because they're using a Shiftry as well. Anyways, going back into the fight here, we're looking pretty not so great. So he's going to be able to take us out here. And comes my Typhlosion. And we're able to actually get off Blast Burn. No kidding. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. I don't remember all these battles. All right. So, wow. We're able to take out a Swampert with Blast Burn. Fantastic with Typhlosion. All right. So, we're going to be going down to the last battles here. So, this is another bad lead I don't like to see. And that's going to be the Venusaur. Especially with Feraligatr, of course. But then we have the Scrafty and the Typhlosion. Now, I can make the immediate switch into Typhlosion. But they're always going to counter me here. But in this case... Here we go with the Solar Beam, folks. This thing has been saving my butt. One-shotted the Gyarados, basically. And I was able to farm it down even. And have energy for this Venusaur. So I do decide to go down with the ship. Oh, let it go through and survive. And barely able to get off a Blast Burn. Wow, okay. So this was a good, good play here, I guess. That switch they did was questionable, but... Alright. I guess they didn't want to be matched up. I've seen Venusaurs beat my Typhlosion because they can just get to Frenzy Plant so quickly, and it does a good amount of damage anyways. So finishing it off with the Scrafty, and alright, they have a Snorlax in the back, so we're looking great. We're going to be able to take this here, hopefully, as long as we use the shield at the correct time. If they hit us with an Earthquake, that's going to hurt, but at the same time, it's not going to KO us, and the Lick is not doing much damage. A little bit of lag here. I was getting nervous for a second. But it finally went through. I was like, okay, thank goodness. I want to try to get 5-0 with the Scrafty on my team. and we take the win there. So now we have the last 2 battles. Okay, here we go. So at this point, I'm 4-0. Let's see what we can do here with this specific team. All day I've been using this. I tried out some whack teams, so always testing out weird stuff. I don't care right now. Still preseason for a little bit longer. Might as well have some fun with it before we get into the real stuff here. So they do make a switch, and I decide to stay here and go for the crunch and then make the switch into Scrafty. See, what I was talking about at the beginning is where I like to switch with Scrafty is when they're locked in, or I know there's no fairies on their team. So they have a Registeel and a Giratina. What do they have in the back is the question here. They can't switch yet because they're still locked. So we have vamped up our power with Power Punch here, our attack. And we're going to go ahead and go for Foul Play and see if we can get that through here. And we do. It does a lot of damage. But at the same time, it's almost like you have to rely on those. You can go for a Power Punch, but I mean, Giratina is so tanky and resisting your fighting moves, it's just not great. So I make the switch into Typhlosion and fainted out with Shadow Claw while gaining energy. So that was pretty nice. And they have a Shiftry in the back. So our team, or their whole team, is weak to my Scrafty. Let's remember this, because I didn't. You'll see what I'm talking about. So we're able to take this win here. And it's very close. At that point, they were backing out. They saw I had a shield and Scrafty in the back, so it's not like they froze up. We're matched up with them again, folks. Now, remember, everything was weak to Scrafty, the star of this video here, the highlight. And what I could have done here, I'm just going to tell you, is just switch into it at any point in time and been safe, right? At least I would have been able to take on a Giratina or destroy the Shiftry, and even this Registeel here. I decide to stay in the fight, and then at this point I'm like, okay, let's go Typhlosion. All right, farm it down, call the bluff on the shield here, let it go through, Flash Cannon. Good, that's good. Maybe I should have farmed a little bit more at that point. A little bit more. But initially what I think I should have done is switch into Scrafty, and then I would have been safe, whatever. But I, keep going on with that Registeel here. And let's see, I vamped up the Power Up Punch quite a bit. So if we can get a foul playthrough, it's going to pretty much, I wouldn't say one-shot it. Let's see what happens here. It's half health. We only got like 2 Power Up Punches, I think. So yeah, still not too much damage quite yet. We could have gotten another foul play. But that's okay. So they use a shield, so that's great. I think that's what I was planning to do. At this point, I think I knew I was pretty much screwed. Still a way for me to win, but not likely. It's going to be very close. All right, so he has so much energy. I was like, oh my gosh, nope, I can't. Unfortunately, I was not able to get 5-0 with Scrafty, folks, but it's such a hard Pokemon to use. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and get ready for Master. I'll be bringing you some of those battles. Take care, trainers.